Okay, everyone. Well, and what I should do here is welcome to PSCSTA, which stands for um, Puget Sound Computer Science Teachers Association. I think we're also officially known as CSTA Puget Sound Washington chapter. And this is our orientation for the 22-23 school year. One of the things that we noticed is that, we had several members who were joining, but we never really did an outreach to them. So we wanted to be sure that they knew what was going on and the things that we could do for them, and also trying to help members. We've done a lot of changes over the last couple of years since the pandemic, and we wanted to be sure that everyone sort of knew how to take advantage of all of these services that we're doing. So that's why we're doing this. One thing is that this particular presentation, I'm going to be presenting this version from my desktop, but if you want the online version, it's right here. tinyurl.com PSCSTA 23 welcome. Okay. And this email here, csta@pugetsoundgmail.com, this is our general email for any questions you might have, let's say. Unless for example, if you know Lauren's email address, you can email her or myself personally, but generally. Let's go here. And this is just sort of the CSTA spiel. And really, basically the Computer Science Teachers Association, really, we understand that teaching computer science is hard, right? That's why we focus on trying to create a strong environment to support K-12 educators, right? And so that's part of the reason why we're doing this, is to try and foster the community, because especially even during the pandemic, we're all kind of off on our own and doing our own things here. What we're trying to do better outreach as a CSTA chapter to sort of get everyone together. Yeah, right. As I said, you might be the only computer science teacher in your school, district, or town. And really, as part of our organization, CSTA, we're all in this together. So we are trying to reach all of you and trying to help you all out. Right? And this is another part of the CSTA mission, right? We're a voice for teachers, driven by teachers. We are member focused. We are committed to equity in the community and our students. And we want to help grow people. And what we're trying to figure out ways that we can help teachers throughout the state, grow as CS teachers and in their practice. Okay. And this is more about us in particular. They say we kind of go by two names. It's the more difficult, PSCSTA, things of that nature, but yeah.
That's Alec PSCSTA.
Yeah, PSCSTA, yes. So that's, but anyway, we just go by PSCSTA. Yep. We do have a questionnaire here, if you don't mind. And this is questionnaire here, tinyurl.com, PSCSTA 23 begin. And this is just something that we're sort of asking you to consider as we go through this particular presentation. Even if you're viewing this online and you're listening to this at double speed, we hope that you can look at this particular form here and fill that out. And this is what it looks like here. We just want your name, how long have you been a member of our group? And then just some questions about, why did you join our group originally? What are some of the benefits you'd like to take advantage of, how you'd like to get more involved, and questions that you still might have. Okay. So just keep that open as we go through this particular presentation, and fill it out, and we will look at it, and we will hopefully get back to you on if there are some things that you think you'd like to get involved, or if there are further questions that you have. So please look at that. And I should actually put that in here, right? SRL.com. Yes. Good. Okay. This is an overview of our chapter. We're founded in 2009, so quite a while ago. We have over 110 active members. So we actually just this past year grew over the century mark, and so we have over and we're one of 4 CSTA chapters in Washington State. There's our Puget Sound region. There's also the Spokane chapter, the Mid-Columbia chapter, and the Central Washington chapter. And we, even though there are 4, we cover all of even though it says we're Puget Sound, we really do cover all of Western Washington geographically. So about 60% of, the population is under sort of what we cover geographically. And we are trying to focus on several different virtual events to support teachers throughout Washington. So even though, because even within our Puget Sound region, we have to do things virtually. Otherwise, we can't get people to go to things at all. So, so we are trying to have some focus on virtual events to support teachers. And cool thing is that joining is free, right? You can join CSTA National and one or more of the local chapters. So you can join both our Puget Sound chapter and the Spokane chapter, and you can join as many local chapters as you like, and it's all free. So I'm part of like 6 or 7 chapters, I think 6 chapters or so, including Hawaii, just because I like them. But you can join as many as you want. And here are the links to join. And there is also this CSTA Plus membership for $50 annual fee that provides additional benefits that we'll talk about later. But most of the things we'll talk about are free to you. Okay, these are our chapter's officers. We have Lauren here, who is our president. Our vice president, Catherine, she unfortunately couldn't make it today. I'm the treasurer. I'm also what is known as the advocacy lead for this. So I'm supposed to help advocate for computer science throughout this, advocate for teachers and computer science throughout the state. Our secretary is Elizabeth Bacon. We have what is known as an equity fellow within our chapter, and that's Jennifer Steyer. And I'll talk a little bit about her more later. And we have 2 at-large officers, Alec McTavish and Tracy Sconyers. And here's a link at the bottom to their introductions on our virtual community. Okay. Optimizing your CSTA membership. One thing we found, and this, you can decide how you want to do this, but one thing we found is that even though CSTA and PSCSTA provide give a lot of information, we send a lot of emails and things of that nature, a lot of it gets into your junk mail for some, or they get blocked. So these are just some suggestions here that I've been given as to how you can get more email from us if you're finding that, hey, we're not, you're not really doing very much, what are you doing, some of the things you can do is that if you're not getting mail at all from us, you should consider using a personal email account. There are some teachers who are behind very strict firewalls within their school districts. So you might want to consider using a personal email account for it if you're not getting the mail. You can check your junk mail for interesting things that have this sort of patterns in it. If you're finding that a lot of things have that junk mail, you might want to unfilter those or put them in their safe list. Other things you can do is update your profile. write your first virtual community post so we know you're out there. We can talk more about that later. View the orientation video, which is this, of course, and we're making it now, so you can't quite see it now, but if you do see it, you will have it. Participate in the events that we throw, and eventually become a chapter leader. Maybe Lauren will want to speak about that at some point in time here. But yeah, that is another thing. If you want to go all in, that's also available. Some of the memberships you talk about, and these are just, we'll talk about virtual community, our website and bulletins, live in-person events, a lot of the virtual events. Now we're also doing Washington State clock hours. And we also provide moral and professional support. Talk about that. The virtual community, really, this is a community where any member can post and share announcements, questions, ideas, and resources that they feel will help others. And you can receive daily and weekly summaries of what goes on. So you don't have to get a mail every single time someone posts something. And we have, in addition to the PSCSTA virtual community, we also have created a Walksta community for the various chapters the leaders in the various chapters within CSTA Washington to sort of compare notes. And here we have some running threads here. And these are some threads that we're just keeping around where people can introduce themselves. We can talk about professional development opportunities, student opportunities, volunteer opportunities, and employment opportunities. And I'll show you a little bit about what this particular community looks like here. Let's see here, okay. Oops, let me move that there, wow. Okay, so one thing, so this is the CSTA homepage. We'll talk a little bit more about that later. But if you go to the community, you have to go membership and then virtual community here. And that should take you to something that looks like this here. One of the tricky things about using the community is that it's not a single sign-in experience. So you have to log in twice. So you have to log into the CSTA community there. And once you do that, and I've actually already logged in, but so I get it right away, but you have to log in. And once you're here, you want to go to the communities that you belong to. And these are the various communities that I belong to here. And yes, I belong to several communities, but the one you care about the most is CSA Puget Sound, which is us. And here you have several different posts and things of that nature. There's one post here that contains a link to all the other posts there. We have there, and you can also look at discussions here. If you click on, oops, back to discussions, or back to home here. And if you just want to see all the discussions that are going on, you can click on here. And really, you can post, anyone can post anything. The only restriction that you have to these are, there are certain keywords. For example, if you're posting about a free resource or a free professional development sort of thing, generally it gets moderated. And so someone might have to, so one of the administrators has to go in and say, yeah, this is okay, and things of that nature. But generally you can post, anyone can post anything and share whatever information they want. So that's the communities. There are also several national virtual communities out there. So of course, I just talked about the PSCSTA community and the local and the Wapsta community. But there's a public community that contains that all CSTA members belong to, and that's quite a busy community with over 20,000 plus members. There are also communities for grade band, for different AP courses if you're interested in that. One important one are the various affinity groups, if you have a particular interest in it, and for Black or Latinx, AAPI, or Pride community, and also some other more probably smaller part, I guess smaller organization or smaller groups. For example, CTE, physical computing, schools of education, coaching, AI, and there are some others. And you can actually, create your own or request to create your own if you think you have a group of people who are interested in just getting together and doing that. And so there's a lot of, and so you can find people of all sorts of interests in the CS community too. This is the website and the bulletins. Our particular website here is PSCSTA.org. And this was our old URL. And now it just links to Puget Sound CSTeachers.org. And this is kind of what it looks like, but see here, this is, wait, where is it here? So this is what it looks here. And then the top part of it is this giant thing that we get from CSTA. It's a little bit too big if you ask me, but we do have a lot of content here. And you can see here some of our news articles there and some of our upcoming events that we have going on as well. Okay, so that's there. And there's, you can see other older news by using news and older events by looking at the event calendar as well. The CSTA homepage is just csteachers.org. It's not CSTA.org, but csteachers.org. You can see here some of their events that they have coming up. And they have several voice articles here. And actually, I would say I actually was involved with writing this Understanding CS Policy one here. So thank you. So yeah, but you can see all of these things here. What else? Okay, so that's okay. Where's that? Live in-person events. Some of the things we're doing. We did support programming contests at Pacific Lutheran this year. So we just provided mostly advertising and moral support and things like that. And programming contests was something that we did a lot of before. We're still looking into perhaps doing it in the future, but for now, we're just providing support to other groups that are doing programming contests. But there's we did earlier in February, we did what is known as a physical computing workshop, where we did work at Microsoft, and we had about 17 teachers come in to learn about physical computing, and they got a lot of material and things that they can use in their classroom. We're doing a joint meetup with the Sound CS Ed group, and this is one that's on April 28th. So if you're interested, you can get to this link or go to our website and you can learn more about that. We also have a big thing known as the Lightning Talks. Did I spell that? And Step CS Graduate Reception, that's on May 25th. And this is a really big one. And if you're here now, we definitely want you to go to this as well. There'll be free food and many interesting people there. And if you wanted to go to that, you can go here. You can go to, let's go read more here. And you can go to tickets here. And you can actually reserve your spot for May 25th. Okay, so that's going to be a big event for us. We'll have, about 12 speakers here, each doing about a 5-minute spiel or so. The other thing we'll do is that this summer, we're likely to have a CSTA in association with the CSTA conference. We'll probably have some local meetups where we'll just get together and just talk about what's going on in our communities, things like that. One thing that we will probably be looking at going forward, and we did try and do this previously, and so now we'll probably do it again since it's safer to go out now, is what we'll be seeking proposals for regional or affinity meetups of members who would like to just get together, particularly if they're outside of the immediate Puget Sound area and they can't normally get together. So we want to try and do things of that nature, but that's something that we'll be looking at in the future. The virtual events that we provide, we do have monthly chapter meetings. If you are interested, just let us know and we will give you the link and you can just join and see how the things we work on and hopefully find something that's of interest to you. One thing that will be coming soon is that we'll have office hours where you can just call in or go into a Zoom link and we'll just try and answer whatever questions you may have or concerns you might have about teaching computer science or just try and see what you can help. So we do want to try and find out what people's issues are and see what, and while the person who's there may not be able to answer all your questions, they may know who to ask to help you get those answers. We also have meetups within national events. So these are just little sort of breakout rooms that they occur during national events that we get together at. And more. And really, we are trying to come up with more virtual events all the time. And this is a virtual event, I should say that. This orientation itself is a another thing we're doing, which is related to virtual events, is doing Washington State clock hours. And we became a clock hour provider for this year for the first time. And we just put in our application for next year as well. So it should be a little bit smoother next year. And this was our first year, so we weren't sure if we could do it. And these are some of the things that we provided clock hours for already. The physical computing workshop, which is a in-person event. We did How We Teach Computing Summit, which was in the fall. And there are 2 ongoing classes put on by CSTA that are on Coursera that you can take. You can take those courses and complete them and just let PSCSTA know, and we will give you clock hours for it. And these actually you can see here, if we go to the home page there. Where is it? Upcoming events. If we go here, I think some of these events, do we have that? Here, if you look here, these 2 spring sessions for identity inclusion and teaching security, if you decide to take these, you can get Washington State clock hours for them. The identity inclusion, you can get 10 hours. Security mindset, you can get 4 CTE hours for it. And the last thing is, if you're currently not a CS teacher and you want to get an endorsement, one of the CS endorsements, we are providing a Foundations of CS for Teachers course that you can actually get up to 35 clock hours for completing. Another way of getting clock hours from us is if you become a very active member and you're sort of not, you don't necessarily have to be a chapter leader per se, but if you're very involved with our organization, we'll help you create a professional growth plan to get up to 25 Washington State clock hours, and it's for doing certain work for us, or work not for us, but for the organization, or somehow helping other Washington State CS teachers. And the clock hours are free, so you don't have to pay $2 per clock hour or things like that. We will. You do get the clock hours for free, just that you must actually register it with OSPI on your own. And we do provide instructions on how to do that. And it's actually good for you to learn how to do that, so you don't run into trouble when you try and renew your certificate. Other things we do, just general moral and professional support. We have monthly meetings and meetups, and as I mentioned before, we'll have some sort of office hours. We do provide the virtual community, the chapter advocacy lead, which is some things that I'm sort of doing that. So if you do have certain issues with CS in your school, I'm willing to help out. Yeah, we'll see how that goes. But yeah, that's something. It's interesting. If you need support with anything, you can email cstapugetsound@gmail.com, which is our main email, and we will try and route you correctly. One thing we are doing now is we're trying to do outreach to undergraduate teaching candidates to sort of convince them to teach computer science soon after they get out of school. And so even if they're not already planning to be a CS teacher as an undergrad, we're trying to say, hey, well, why don't you do so very soon? We're trying to also integrate better with TOs, figuring out what we can do for mentoring and coaching, and also multi-chapter or multi-state events. And so these are sort of ongoing things. We're not sure how they will go yet, but we're hoping to do something in those areas. Here's some things just a little more about the support that National CSTA does. And you can see here, we're basically relying a lot on the National CSTA infrastructure to provide all of these services, for example, the virtual communities and so on and so forth. But really, they provide a lot of the things that we use. For example, the K-12 computer science standards that are also used by Washington State are provided by the National CSTA. There's also standards for CS teachers that provided by CSTA. There's a bunch of teaching resources and professional development, items that they give. They do many events, many more events than PSCSTA provides clock hours for, but there's several different events that are of interest and many more events that any one of us can actually go to. And there are programs. They provide a variety of reports that are in interest, and there are national committees. And some of the key members here on some of our national committees, we have actually 2 members of PSCSTA who are on the board of directors. Dr. Ladner and Jacqueline Russell, is Microsoft and sort of is I think she's now the vendor representative to the CSTA board. As I said, equity fellows. These are people who look at equity issues in computer science. Jennifer Steyer, who's up in Bellingham. She's the equity fellow, one of the, I think about 17 or 18 equity fellows. She's one of them. And I'm on the policy committee, and we look at both how CS policy is going through the various states, and also how to advocate for better CS in education in each state. And And of course, and all of this up to what I said for now is basically all free. You can get all of this for free. However, there is also, if you want to spend a little extra money each year, there is a CSTA Plus, which is a membership, which is an annual membership fee. And this enables you to become, well, it's kind of there's like, to become a chapter leader, you actually need to become a Plus member, although we're perfectly willing to give scholarships to people to, if that's an issue. And also, if you want to be a National Committee member, you need to do it. You can also create your own CS Honor Society, which is just an organization that provides. It's basically a CS club that you have with the organization, and you get free or discounted price for professional development and events. And you get. Thank you very much. And yes, and Catherine Mylan is our main person on the CS Honor Society. And if you're a Plus member, you get more swag. If that's what you want, you can get more swag. Yes, and Lauren has showing off her swag there. But you can also get swag for just being a regular member as well. But you get more swag as a CSTA member. And that's pretty much it for the presentation. I've sort of gone through several of the things that are going on. Did anyone have any questions or comments? And I will probably go and I will pause the recording now. Okay, so anyway, the presentation is over. Everyone has left, but if you are still watching this on a video online, I do highly, I do ask that you fill out this questionnaire just so that you know that you saw this video. And if you have any ideas of things you'd like to take advantage of, ways you'd like to get involved, or questions that you still have, please fill out the questionnaire and let us know, and we will get back to you. Thank you very much. If you've stayed through this video up through this time, we greatly appreciate it. And I look forward to talking to you sometime in the future. Thank you. Bye.